Welcome back. I want to begin a new series that's some encouragement for parents and specifically some small tools that can make a real big difference in the ways that you're parenting. And, let me just say the fact that you're even here watching a video like this says a lot about you. It's not that you're watching my video, but the fact that you want to change something in your parenting, or you want to learn, or you want to grow. That tells me you are going to find what you're looking for. So you just keep doing that, whether it's through videos or books or conferences or doing some counseling or talking to some mentors. You just keep doing that. You really will get what you need. The thing I want to talk to you about today is about using being present in conversations and curiosity to help things go quite a bit deeper and make a bigger impact. What I've noticed when a lot of times when I'm talking, I have to really force myself to not think about what I'm going to say when it's my turn. And that was a real problem for me early on. I would always be in conversations with people thinking, okay, well, now I'm going to say this. And I found that it was kind of like I was getting removed from the conversation. I wasn't really listening. I mean, I kind of was, but I was more invested in, what am I going to say? So then the focus is about me and not about the person I'm listening to. And there's a thing that, at least in Western culture, I can say we do a lot. When I think about, like, when I eat food, and I'm someone who, I love all different kinds of food, but I still am guilty sometimes of not even tasting my food when I eat it. I might think about what I'm going to do next or something that I'm excited about, and I completely miss tasting the food. And I have to pause and kind of put myself back in it and start to taste it again and recognize what I'm eating. And it's not an either or thing. We can go all the way to one end, all the way to the other, or somewhere in between. But it's possible to do it and just be disengaged. So when you're talking with someone, it's possible to be disengaged and just be in your head and not really hearing them. But it feels qualitatively different when someone experiences you very, very attentive to them, being present. It feels different. So a lot of times in sessions, people will talk about how it feels different to be talking in a session. Well, that's because the idea is to be very present with that person. But you can do that with your kids. And what I've noticed is that parents a lot of times will get stuck in these ways that it sort of reminds me of the telephone game, if you've ever played that game. And if you never have, it's a game that elementary school kids play sometimes. They gather up the kids sort of in a circle, and one kid will say something, whispering it to the kid next to them, who whispers it to the next, and it sort of goes around the circle till it comes to the last one and they say what they were told. But usually it's changed so much as it gets whispered that by the time it gets to the end, it doesn't have anything to do with what you started with. So what may have started as I made a sandwich may end with I robbed a bank, And I think that as parents, we do a version of that in our heads. So we'll start with listening to our kids. Maybe there's a problem or there's something emotional going on that they're trying to tell us about. And immediately we kind of get into this problem-solving mode and we start solving it, or interacting with it in our heads, and we're losing what they're actually saying to us. And so that by the time we give out our advice or give out our thing that we've problem-solved, it may not relate anymore to what they're saying, or it may feel really foreign to them. So you may get a response that feels like it doesn't match, what you're saying. So I think to be able to do it, it takes a little bit of discipline. It takes a little bit of actually deciding, okay, I'm not just going to think about what I'm going to say. I'm going to listen to what they're saying and really absorb it. And I'm going to say it back to them so they know what I heard. And if it's possible, I'm going to say how I would feel in their shoes. I'm empathetically communicating. So if my kiddo is saying to me, I had a really rough day, I wouldn't probably want to parrot that back and say, oh, you had a really rough day. But I might say back how I would experience that. I might say, wow, it sounds like a day that you just didn't expect. And gosh, for me, those kind of days, sometimes I just want to go be alone after those. I wonder if it's like that. And Now you're off and running. Now they're going to tell you, they might course correct you or agree with you, but they'll feel very heard. So that's one way to begin to do this. But I've also found if you practice this, one thing that will happen is that people will tell you all the things you need to know to continue the conversation, to ask questions that take it another layer deeper. So maybe in that conversation, I'm saying that, and then the child I'm talking to would say, yeah, well, I did try to be alone, but then I just got in trouble because I was supposed to be in my seat. I have more information now. I can interact with that. But instead of, typically in Western culture, we'd start problem solving that. Well, but aren't you supposed to be in your seat? And what are the rules? If I just am connecting with it for a minute, yeah, that's confusing because you're trying to take care of yourself, but then you're in trouble. Well, that would feel really weird. Like now we're going a layer deeper. And they'll say something else that gives me more things I can be curious about or find out about. So you may not be able to do that for a really long time. It takes some mental energy. But I'm just saying when you do it, you're actually impacting what's really going on, what's real. When you're just in your head and you're problem solving and thinking of what you're going to say, you're really more making an impact on your thinking, not on the actual situation. So when I'm eating my food and I'm not tasting it, I'm just not tasting it. I can't taste my food unless I actually slow down and stop and taste my food. I can remember a time with my wife where early in our marriage, I don't remember what it was, but she was upset about something and she was crying. And boy, I just got so frozen and stuck in my head thinking, okay, well, if I said this, I think she's going to react like that. But so I shouldn't do that, but I'll say this. No, I don't think that's good either. Well, what if I said it like this? Meanwhile, she's just crying the whole time. And finally, she just looks at me and says, just give me a hug, you dummy. And so, I did. And it took that for me to get me out of my head and to realize, boy, I'm really missing it here. I got to interact with what's here, not what's here. So all that to say, you can do this. It takes some practice, but boy, can it make a difference. If you want to try it out, I would suggest just picking a day to try it, or an hour, or pick a certain conversation or a certain person that you're going to try it with. You might even tell them that you're going to do it so they can pick up on if it feels different. And try it out with people that you trust first. Or if you want to try it with your kids, go ahead. And you can find out if it feels different because they'll probably tell you or they'll probably respond differently. This can really enrich things quite a bit and make you feel like you're much more connected in the conversation and know how to proceed next. So you'll find you don't have to spend time thinking. You'll know. Anyway, I wish you all the best with this. I hope that it goes well for you and look forward to seeing you again. Take care.